In Seattle by protesters from the city's Black Lives Matter chapter.
About predators.
You're being rude.
I know that you called black youth predators at night.
Look toward common sense gun reform, criminal justice reform, and all the like. So I think we've got a very, we've got somebody saying here, we have to bring them
apologize for mass
to
incarceration.
heel. Okay, we'll talk
I'm
about
not a super predator, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, fine, we'll talk
Can
about
you
it.
apologize to black people for mass incarceration?
Well, can I talk, and then maybe you can listen to what I say?
You called black
And
people
about
super predators.
You're being rude.
Super predators. That's rude. That's rude.
Now, do you want to hear the facts, or you just want to
I
talk?
know that you called black youth super predators at 1994. Please explain the record. Explain it to us. You owe black people an apology.
Well,
Excuse us. That's an
tell you what, if you will give me a chance to talk, I'll approach your side. You know what? Nobody's ever asked me before. You're the first person to ask me, and I'm happy to address it, but you are the first person to ask me here. Okay, back to the issues. The issues that I think report.
Thank you, Seattle, for being one of the most progressive cities in the United States of America.
We will fight for black lives no matter what it takes.
Today in America, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. 2.2 million people, predominantly African American and Hispanic. We need major reforms of a very broken criminal justice system. Police officers should not be shooting unarmed people, predominantly African Americans. Tragically, in America today, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth, including China, an authoritarian communist country with a population 4 times our size. How does that happen? If current trends continue, the estimate is that 1 in 3 black males born today can expect to spend time in prison during his lifetime. This is an unspeakable tragedy. This is an issue that has got to be put on the table and has got to be discussed.
How would your presidency ensure that incidents of police violence are investigated and prosecuted fairly?
This is a responsibility for the U.S. Justice Department to get involved. Whenever anybody in this country is killed while in police custody, this should automatically trigger a U.S. Attorney General's investigation. If a police officer breaks the law, like any public official, that officer must be held accountable. We have got to make our police departments look like the communities they serve in their diversity.
How do we talk about the very serious crime problem in America without mentioning that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty in the industrialized world by far, with 22% of our children in poverty and 5 million kids hungry today? Do you think maybe that might have some relationship to crime? How do we talk about crime when this Congress is prepared this year to spend 11 times more for the military than for education?
I fought for my country. I served in the United States Marine Corps, 2 tours in Iraq. I'm a proud countryman. But I'm also a man who came home after serving in Fallujah and al-Ramadi, and I can't even put food on the table for my family, gentlemen. I can't even afford to put a roof over my child's head with the amount of money that I'm making. I worked 45 hours this week, and my manager pulled me over to the side and told me that you can't have these 5 hours of overtime at time and a half. She told me she was going to take my 5 hours and put them on next week's check so she wouldn't have to give me my time and a half.
That's illegal.
And disperse it out. But it happens. It happened. I served my great country, and I came home, and this is my passion. I love to cook for KFC. I like to feed the people. I like to see the smiles on their faces when they come in that store. I got a Purple Heart. I got wounded in combat. Guess where I was? I was back on the battlefield the next day. I don't want my son to look at me like I'm something less because I have to work for $7.25 when I bust my butt every day and I take pride in what I do, gentlemen. We have a voice and we want it to be heard. We want 15. We need 15. We deserve 15.
All of our workers from coast to coast need at least $15 an hour. What we are saying loudly and clearly is $7.25 an hour. The current federal minimum wage is a starvation wage. It's got to be raised to a living wage. That's right. I think that if you work 40 hours a week, you have a right not to be living in poverty. That's right. Here's the simple truth, that in America we have millions and millions of working people who are working hard but are not making enough money to put bread on the table or to take care of their kids, and that has got to end. Today, all over America, you got mom working, you got dad working, occasionally you have the kids working, and we still don't have enough money to pay the bills. Something is fundamentally wrong about that.
Authority with his regulators to make those decisions.
How corrupt this system is. Goldman Sachs recently fined $5 billion. Goldman Sachs has given this country 2 secretaries of Treasury, one on the Republicans, one on the Democrats. Say it. The leader of Goldman Sachs is a billionaire who comes to Congress and tells us we should cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Secretary Clinton, and you're not the only one, so I don't mean to just point the finger at you. You've received over $600,000 in speaking fees from Goldman Sachs in 1 year. I find it very strange that a major financial institution that pays $5 billion in fines for breaking the law, not one of their executives is prosecuted, while kids who smoke marijuana get a jail sentence.
Ensure incidents of police violence are investigated and prosecuted fairly.
This is a responsibility for the U.S. Justice Department to get involved. Whenever anybody in this country is killed while in police custody, this should automatically trigger a U.S. Attorney General's investigation. That's what our campaign is about. It is thinking big. It is understanding that in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we should have health care for every man, woman, and child as a right, that we should raise the minimum wage to at least $15 an hour, and that we are going to have a government that works for all of us and not just big campaign contributors.